Luevenia, I love you so much. I love you just because you make me so happy. I really thank you for being in my life. And you just are so beautiful. And I really cherish and adore you because you are the one that I want in my life forever.
If it weren't for the fireman, he would have burned us all. All of us would have been gone.
Listen, I'm like, why you got the knife? So he threw the knife down, and then he went upstairs, I guess, to my room. And then he came back down, he had like a gun on the left-hand side. So I'm like, what's that for? So he aimed it at my head and said, it's for you.
I wanted Judy's voice to be heard as quickly as possible. Doctors and nurses are looking at you like, do you want to bring this person out of sedation?
Judy, can you hear me?
Can you imagine someone promising to love and cherish you until the day you die, later being the same person to set you on fire? That was the reality that the young woman in this story faced after she thought she had married the man of her dreams. Her happily ever after was stolen from her by a man who had promised her everything. This is a heart-wrenching story that shows how quickly an abusive relationship can turn deadly. Luevenia Gardner, known by those closest to her as Viv, was a beautiful, kind, and vibrant woman from South Chicago. She had a lot of friends and was known to be the life of every party, and someone who could brighten any room just by being in it. Luevenia was known for keeping a positive outlook on life, even when she was facing her own personal challenges. Sadly, she would have a lot of challenges and anguish, especially towards the tragic end of her life. Luevenia was in a relationship with a 35-year-old man named Henry Taylor. Henry was known to have a major temper and a short fuse, something he would admit himself. He also had a criminal history. Despite the fact that Henry had some pretty concerning flaws, Luevenia fell in love with him due to his goofy, fun side. Their relationship started pretty casually, with mostly hookups, but as time went on and they got to know one another better, it became deep and meaningful. While it's not clear how long they had officially been together at this point, they ended up making a spontaneous decision to go to Las Vegas and get married. Despite the fact that it was a whirlwind ceremony that was put together without much planning, it was beautiful. They exchanged intimate vows while surrounded by their loved ones. Their ceremony itself was filled with laughter, joy, and what appeared to be deep love for one another.
I promise to give you my eternal loyalty and heart, for you are the only man I would ever need.
Luevenia held back tears on her wedding day as she recited her vows while hand in hand with her soon-to-be husband. You could tell that she meant every word as she poured her heart out to Henry.
I'll listen to you. I'll nurture you. I'll fight, but I will be true. I will always do my equal share, and I will vow to never give up on you. I'll try my best to fulfill your every need. I'll walk hand in hand with you, but I will always give you your separate space to grow.
These are the words that many men would dream of hearing, promises of devotion and loyalty for the rest of a life together.
I'm right here, so you don't let go. You're my strength, my joy, my everything. And when you feel like the world is crumbling, look at me, because I'm your rock. I will love you, and I just want to thank you for choosing me. Because you chose me.
Luevenia's giddy laughter and huge smile show her genuine joy and her true excitement for getting to marry the love of her life. The crowd could be heard oohing and eyeing over her sweet words, and this couple clearly seems to be a match made in heaven, or it seemed at the time.
I love you so much. I love you just because you make me so happy. I really thank you for being in my life. And you just are so beautiful. And I really cherish and adore you because you are the one that I want in my life forever.
As the couple had their first kiss as husband and wife, cheers could be heard coming from the audience.
It is truly now my great honor to pronounce you as husband and wife. You may seal your promises with a kiss.
When the ceremony was over, the couple returned home to Chicago to begin what Luevenia thought would be marital bliss and the start of their happily ever after. However, it would quickly become clear that their life together wasn't going to be what she expected. Behind smiling pictures on social media, Luevenia and Henry's relationship was starting to show cracks. This was largely due to Henry's violent and angry temper. Luevenia would sometimes record Facebook Lives with friends while she and Henry were eating or just hanging out. In some of these videos, people were able to see firsthand how cruelly Henry would sometimes talk to his wife, and even what sort of violent threats he would make against her. In this clip, we hear Henry appearing to complain about a dinner that Luevenia prepared for him and suggested that he deserved something better.
You call me a fucking gyro and I'm some thought-ass nigga or something.
Nigga, that's what the hell you wanted.
You want a gyro? I'm worth more
First
than that. Fuck you talking about, shrimp.
That's why I got you crab eggs and shrimp. He an idiot.
Gyro.
You wanted a gyro, first of all.
I like one of them niggas that sell weed and loose squares all day, and all they got enough money to do is get a gyro. Fuck, I look like, bro. Stop playing with me.
Y'all could tell his mama was on crack when she had him, right?
While Luevenia seemed willing to try and shrug off Henry's complaints with a laugh, it's easy to see how toxic and ungrateful Henry's behavior is. No wife wants to be made to feel inadequate, especially when going out of her way to do something nice for her husband. But the clip doesn't end there. Henry continues to complain and then gets angry with Luevenia for raising her voice in response, even trying to gaslight her into thinking that she's the one in the wrong in this situation. Even through all of this berating, she remains mostly calm and continues eating her food. If she's scared, she isn't showing it.
Your Pepsi. I bought you a Pepsi sitting right there. And I bought you icy.
Hey, my mans, you getting too loud. You getting too loud.
I bought you two.
Hey, you gonna have to speak to me. You gotta talk to me nice, baby.
Like this. I bought you two.
Yeah.
Bought you a Pepsi and an ice. Wrong bitch.
Next time you get into it with somebody, just calm it down and be like, hey, talk to me nice.
Because I used to say that shit all the time.
Like, that scared motherfucker. Motherfucker be like, why is it? Because I'm about to fuck you up. I really got anger issues because I'm short as fuck.
As the clip continues, Henry references a fight in the car that they had earlier in the day, in which Luevenia had gotten out of the vehicle and left because she knew that Henry was going to be angry with her.
Like, man, don't let me do this to you. I don't want to hurt you. What you mean, man?
Yeah, I really be tearing crab up worse than this, but I am on last, so I ain't gonna let y'all see how I really be eating.
I will go back to prison. And I ain't going for a fight. I'm trying to break your motherfucking neck.
Henry's admission that he is willing to go back to prison as a result of severely hurting Luevenia is especially chilling and shows what a deeply disturbed individual he truly was to say these horrible things to his own wife. He also even threatened to light someone on fire out of jealousy. While these are just the moments that were caught on camera, we can imagine that there was a lot more verbal abuse going on behind the scenes that people didn't see. As Luevenia and Henry's marriage continued to deteriorate, things got worse and worse, and Henry began getting physically violent with Luevenia. The cycle of abuse continued and kept escalating even further until the moment of April 16th, 2021. It was about 1:30 in the morning and the couple were arguing. We may never know what exactly the argument was about, but what we do know is that Henry apparently became absolutely consumed by rage. Henry doused Luevenia in lighter fluid and then quickly set her on fire. We can only imagine the terror and excruciating pain that Luevenia was suffering at this point. Desperately, she ripped off all of her clothes and leapt into the shower in an attempt to put out the flames that were consuming her entire body. But extensive damage to her body had already been done. All the while, Henry did nothing to help her. Luevenia ran out of her home and out into the streets where she screamed for help. She ran for 2 blocks before eventually reaching a firehouse on 105th and Halstead Avenue in South Chicago. The firemen came running when they heard her screams, and when they got outside, they were met with an absolutely devastating sight. Luevenia was covered in 2nd and 3rd degree burns over more than 70% of her body. Her skin had melted, her hair extensions were fused to her flesh. The firemen did what they could to render aid and rushed Luevenia to the hospital. She underwent surgery in an attempt to save her life. Sadly, despite the treatment she received, Luevenia succumbed to her injuries and passed away on May 21st after a little more than a month at the University of Chicago Medical Center. It was truly a horrific death in which she suffered greatly. It was later reported during the time that the firemen were working on saving Luevenia that she told them that she had known for a long time that her husband would try to kill her and that she should have left him. Henry Taylor turned himself into the authorities and in a taped confession admitted to his heinous crime. He revealed that he knew exactly what he was doing when he set Luevenia on fire and even called her family afterward to confess his barbaric act. He claimed he was not even that close to his wife. Clearly, only someone with no true humanity or human compassion could do something like this to another person. He definitely got joy from causing someone else extreme pain and suffering. The good news is that he won't be getting away with it, and he won't be able to hurt another innocent person ever again. Henry has yet to go to trial but is being held without bail. He is likely facing life in prison without parole if he is convicted. In this next case, we'll hear about another woman, also based in Chicago, who was also attacked by her abusive boyfriend. As surreal as it sounds, this woman went through both being with a deadly weapon and attacked with fire just days later. And to add to how disturbing this whole thing is, the person who did this to her promised to love her.
If somebody ever said they love me to death, I'm just gonna run because I see the outcome is this.
And if you went through anything like what Marquita Redmond has been through, you would probably say the same.
Marquita Redmond spent 9 days in the hospital after being shot 3 times. It happened inside her apartment here on 55th and Prairie last week. Police say it followed a verbal altercation with her partner. Redmond says she had just broken up with her boyfriend before he turned a gun on her in front of her 11-year-old and 4-year-old children.
When you see the rows and rows of staples used to close up Marquita's neck after this violent attack, you cannot help but be in awe of the fact that she managed to survive this. This woman is clearly a fighter.
Hear this, 2 days later, her apartment caught fire. Redmond's mother says she was told by fire officials that the fire was intentionally set. All of the family's belongings destroyed. Neighbors tell us surveillance video showed a man breaking into the apartment.
Marquita's mother told the reporters that if her daughter's ex had his way, the whole family would be dead.
He would have burned us all of us would have been gone.
Listen, I'm like, why you got the knife? So he threw the knife down, and then he went upstairs, I guess, to my room. And then he came back down, he had like a gun on the left-hand side. So I'm like, what's that for? So he aimed it at my head and said, it's for you.
Marquita says that when her ex came at her with his weapon raised, she was able to turn just enough that the wasn't fatal. Instead of her head, it hit her shoulder and grazed her neck. Now, at the time of this reporting, the name of Marquita's ex and the potential suspect have not yet been released. In the meantime, Marquita did have a no-contact order in place in hopes of protecting herself from her ex. But will that be enough to keep her safe from someone who seems so determined to end her life? Let us know what you think in the comments below. In this final story, we'll hear of yet another brave woman who was the victim of a horrific attack at the hands of her own boyfriend. Judy Malinowski was a vibrant woman from Ohio, known for her infectious smile and positive spirit. As the oldest of 3 siblings, she was beloved by her family, particularly her mother, Bonnie. Judy excelled in school, participating in cheerleading and beauty pageants. She was even voted homecoming queen. Her dreams were simple: to have a loving family, 2 children, and a peaceful home. But Judy's life was seemingly full of challenges. She became a single mother at a young age and was later diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Despite her prognosis not being good, Judy fought hard and was able to beat the cancer. But later, when the cancer returned, Judy was forced to undergo a hysterectomy. To treat the pain, she was prescribed opioids, which she unfortunately ended up getting addicted to. Judy's struggle with addiction caused her children to live with her mother while she got treatment. treatment. After a stint in rehab, Judy was determined to reclaim her life. During this vulnerable period, she met a man named Michael Slager. Michael would change the trajectory of Judy's life in an absolutely unimaginable way. On the outside, Michael seemed caring and supportive, but he had a much darker side that Judy would later be exposed to. He was a drug addict, and despite the fact that Judy had worked so hard to get sober, he would supply her with drugs, causing her addiction to come back. Michael knew how to manipulate Judy and take advantage of her vulnerability in some of the worst ways. He isolated her from her family and used intimidation and manipulation to maintain power. But nothing Michael did throughout their toxic relationship could compare to his actions on August 2nd of 2015. The couple were at a Speedway gas station in Columbus, Ohio, and they were in the middle of an argument. Judy was holding a soda that she had just bought inside the gas station, when, in a moment of anger, she decided to throw it at Michael. Michael doused Judy in gasoline and then did the unthinkable. He intentionally lit her on fire. Judy was engulfed in flames and suffered burns over 80% of her body. She was rushed to the Ohio University Wexner Medical Center, where she fell into a coma. That was where her mother, Bonnie, received a phone call that no mother wants to receive.
Are you Judy Malinowski's mom? And I remember thinking, what a strange question. And they said, this was the hospital and we have your daughter, that I should come now.
Judy was on life support in critical condition. She was unrecognizable and was described by the staff as the worst burn victim they had ever seen.
We have an equation which is based on the patient's age and percent burn. In Judy's case, she was 31 and approximately 80% burned, so that made her like 110% mortality.
Meanwhile, Michael denied intentionally lighting Judy on fire. He said that he had leaned in to light a cigarette for her, and that's when she caught on fire. Luckily, the gas station surveillance video showed the truth. This was a case of deliberate assault and arson. But in order to truly seal Michael's fate and make sure that he went down for what he did, the cops were desperate to get Judy's testimony and hear firsthand from her about what went down. The only problem was Judy was in a coma and would remain in one for months. It was possible for doctors to wake Judy up from her coma, but doing so would be excruciatingly painful for her. It was decided that she would be awoken just long enough to provide testimony.
We were concerned with Judy passing and us not getting anything on the record. I wanted Judy's voice to be heard as quickly as possible. Doctors and nurses are looking at you like, do you want to bring this person out of sedation?
Judy, can you hear me?
Judy was able to confirm that Michael intentionally lit her on fire.
She lit me on fire, and the look in his eyes went black, literally. I thought for sure I was dying. I just prayed to Jesus to please forgive me for my sins and to take care of my children.
Did you at any time produce a cigarette and ask for a light?
No.
Okay. A matter of fact, did you have any cigarettes on you?
No.
Judy's testimony was used ultimately to convict Michael, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Unfortunately, after a lot of suffering, Judy would eventually pass away from her injuries. But she died knowing that justice was done, and her story had helped raise awareness on behalf of domestic violence victims. Judy's Law, which was created in her name, was enacted in Ohio. The law adds up to 6 years to the sentences of those who disfigure their victims,
extending the sentence by 6 years for cases like Judy's where an accelerant like gas is used.
I think it's the first step towards what her legacy should and will be.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.